All right, this is a scapula, and it's a scapula that belongs on the right side of the body. It actually faces this way in the body. So on my body, it would sit like this with this flat, smooth side coming up against my rib cage. And then this side with this protrusion, which is called the spine of the scapula, it's back here on us, is in the back body. So I just wanted you to see your scapula. Today's class is a lot about this, moving well. It's the shoulder blade, right? So let's get seated. Come onto your mat and have a seat. And as you anchor down through your sitting bones, breathe. What moves your arms really well and gives strength and integrity to your arms is a whole intricate system called the shoulder girdle. And the scapula is one bone within that system. The scapula and its movement helps lift your heart. It helps move your hand in space to do the will of your heart. So as you bring your hands to your heart, know that what's animating you is actually behind you in your body. Bring your hands together at your heart in Anjali Mudra. Take the gaze of your eyes down to meet your heart, offering gratitude for this practice and our willingness to discover more about us through our movement practices. Release your hands and open your eyes. All right, come into all fours position, please, hands and knees. And hands and knees, shoulders and hands in relationship. So the hands are just a little bit underneath the shoulders, maybe a little bit forward of it, knees beneath the pelvis. From the shoulder girdle, let your heart sink down. From the shoulder girdle, expand. So the shoulder girdle, the scapula themselves have several movements. And this movement of allowing your heart to sink towards the earth and then your heart to pull up and away as your back broadens is a movement of the scapula to and away from the midline. So when your arms stay steady and long as your fingers claw and your heart sinks down, the scapula are coming towards your spine. As you push with your hands into the earth and your upper back rounds, your scapula are moving away from your spine. So repeat this a couple more times and see if you can sense this to and from movement of the scapula to your spine, away from your spine. One more time. They might be a little stiff this morning. First practice, first movement. All right, hold steady here. Now round your spine like a cat. Drop your head, drop your tail, lift your belly. And now lift your tail, claw with your hands, pull your heart forward and look up. Opposite again, cat, tail drops, head drops. Use an exhale for cat. And as you roll forward by articulating through your spine, use an in-breath to come into cow. Just keep that moving at your pace between cat and cow. Now here as you articulate your spine between cat and cow, this whole spinal kind of undulation, see if you can sense again that between cat and cow, those two movements of the scapula broadening away from the spine is present, and the scapula drawing towards the spine is present. So here in cat shape, that's when the scapula are broadening away. See if you can sense that as you really push with your arms. And then when you go into cow, you may have to actually do a little bit of work to draw the scapula towards one another. You have to maybe think about it. 2 more times. All right, hold steady here. On your next one, come into neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Work your hands, one full handprint forward. Tuck your toes, push with your hands and your feet, and move up and back into downward facing dog. Pedal through your feet now. So knees are bending not because they're the leader, but because the knees are the follower. So use your feet and the articulation through your feet. One heel lifts while the other lowers to drive the movement of the knees. One more time on each foot, and then lift both heels high, bend your knees, tip your sitting bones just a little bit more to the sky. Now push with your hands, push strongly with your hands, and there's a movement now in the scapula here called depression. When you push with your hands, your scapula are going to depress, meaning moving towards your pelvis. Lower your heels to the earth as you press your thigh bones back to your hamstrings. Walk your hands and your feet towards one another. Bend your knees, bring your hands to your pelvis, and make your spine long. Push down with your feet. With a long spine, move from your pelvis to stand up, all the way up in tall standing. All right, take a nice wide stance. Yeah, so a big wide stance, wider than you. Reach your arms up and out to a T. We're just going to rotate the arms here. So palms down. And then rotate your arms so your palms face the direction of your eyes. Rotate your palms so your palms face the ceiling. Rotate back to palms face with your eyes. Now thumbs to the ground so the back of the hands face the wall behind you. Bring the back of your hands together. Open your arms. 2 more times. Back of the hands together. The scapula really broadening here. Let them broaden. So as you bring the back of the hands together, feel how much your scapula are broadening. Here's your last one. Breathe. Pull your feet towards one another as you open your arms and release them down by your side. Heel toe your feet together. Just stand in both feet as you reach your arms up, out to a T. Bring your right arm into the midline, your left arm underneath, so you're coming into eagle arms. You can cross both elbows. Yep. So if it's kind of awkward this morning to crisscross like that, you certainly can keep your upper arms apart and just have elbows crossing. From the back of your heart, expand the scapula away from your spine so that your elbow tips move forward in space. On an in-breath, open your arms out wide. Exhale them down. Reach up to the sky, out to a T. This time, left arm in, right arm underneath. Now, once again, you have an action here. You have a choice. You could just move from the elbow tips, right? You could just push your elbow tips out. But what if you changed your intention and said, well, I'm going to broaden my scapula away from my spine, and that's what's going to move my elbow tips forward. See if you can find that. So you're going back to the root, the arm root in the back body to move the elbows forward. In breath, open your arms out wide, exhale them down, reach up to the sky, out to a T, clasp your hands back behind you. Yep, so you're holding your hands back behind you, bend your elbows, draw down through your tail, lift up through your heart. So as you bring your elbows towards one another, so elbows are squeezing in, can you feel how the shoulder blades are drawing closer to your spine? Breathe. Release your arms. Let's walk to the top of our mats. In breath, reach up big. Exhale, have a seat chair pose. Fold forward to Uttanasana. Right foot back lunge. Press down into both feet and pull both feet towards one another. Reach your arms forward and then rise tall. So shoulders, ribs, balancing on top of your pelvis. Open your arms out to a T and clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your elbows towards one another while you loosely hold your hands. Keep pulling your feet towards one another as you step heavy in your left heel. Bring the head of your left shin bone over top of your left ankle while you pull your back foot forward towards your left foot. Release your arms, reach them up to the sky. Breathe, and on an exhale, touch the earth. Push heavy with your left foot to swing your right foot forward. Standing forward fold. Breathe. Let your head drop in. You can bend your knees here. These first forward folds, let's make them about the spine so the knees can bend. And later we'll keep working on opening the hamstrings through lengthening the legs. Spine takes precedence in this moment though. So head drops, breath flowing. stand in your right foot, step your left foot back, lunge. Step heavy into your right heel and isometrically drop back. Push with your left foot and pull it forward. Reach your arms forward as you tone your belly. Lift all the way up and balance your ribs, shoulders, and head on top of your pelvis. On an exhale, arms into the side plane, into the back plane. Clasp your hands behind your back. Now, as you keep squeezing your legs towards one another, press more into your right heel. So you've got that steady foundation, and bring the head of the right shin bone over top of the right arch of the foot or ankle. Squeeze your elbows towards one another. Breathe. Next breath, arms reach up. Exhale, bow, touch the earth. Push with your right foot, swing your left foot forward. Bend your knees, fold. Standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Place your hands to the earth. Step both feet back for plank. Hands rooted to the earth, finger pads clawing. Push with your feet strongly so that you can level your pelvis and extend from your pelvis through your heart, through the top back of your head. Breathe here in plank. Push with your hands, push with your feet. Pike your pelvis up to down dog. Push with your hands and feet. Come in on an inhale, forward to plank. 2 more times, working between plank and dog. Pausing in each shape. So it's not that we're just like rushing to get it done. Breathing and exploring the shape as you enter it. So as you come into plank, more expression of hands committing to the earth, feet pushing, heart moving forward, tail moving back. And as you drive your pelvis up and back into dog, more expression of the tip of the pelvis by bending the knees and lifting the sitting bones higher to the sky. On your next in-breath, when you do come forward to plank, you can bring your knees to the mat, or you could stay long in plank. Lower all the way down onto your belly. Keep your hands by your ribs. Lift your shoulders up to the height of your elbows, so you're already in a mini Bhujangasana. Squeeze your legs towards one another as you press the tops of your feet down. Reach back from pelvis to toes as you pull your heart forward. Claw with your hands to pull your heart forward and lift up. And what do you feel your scapula doing in this moment? Hopefully you're like, they're drawing together so that your heart can move forward. Moving your heart forward, lower back down, push up into all fours position, hands and knees. Work your hands underneath your shoulder girdle. And then take your right arm out to a T. Right arm reaches out into the side plane. Take your right arm and thread it in the space between your left hand and left knee. So threading the needle. Right arm threading through. Left hand goes to ridge tops. Left elbow up to the sky. Breathe. Reach and press down with your right arm. So it's not just laying there, it's reaching out across the room and pressing the whole back of the arm down. Push with your left hand to untwist. Back to fours. Right hand placed well beneath the shoulder girdle as you bring your left arm out to a T. On an exhale, take your left arm, thread it between your right hand and your right knee, the space between, so you're threading the needle. Palm of the left hand faces the sky as your right elbow tip goes up to the ceiling. Breathe. Push with your right hand to lift your torso and come out of the twist. Back to all fours position, hands and knees. Keeping your left knee underneath your pelvis, step your right leg back and don't lift it up yet. Push with your foot, pushing into the earth. So you're articulating through the big toe ball joint, baby toe ball joint. You want to find that hinge. Keeping the hinge at the right foot, push more into it so that you open up the bottom of your right foot and also feel your right leg toning. The muscles of your right leg will firm up as you push into the foot. Keep the tone of your right leg, the muscular engagement as you go to lift your leg up. So you could lift your leg up without any toning. That's not what we want. We want that firmness of muscle to bone as the leg goes airborne. Extend your left arm forward and breathe. Recalling in the warm-up, we had a scapula glide, right? Where we let our heart go down to the earth and pushing with the right hand, the scapula would broaden away. So it's like a little mini cat-cow of the shoulder girdle here in cross crawl, a balanced posture. So a couple more times. So keeping the right arm strong and long, left arm in the air, right leg in the air. It's a scapula glide to and from the midline that's lowering your torso towards the earth and lifting your torso away from it. So the elbow, right elbow, is staying steady. Release your left arm down, right foot down, fold your right leg back to fours. All right, you now have a preview of the second side. Breathe. Left leg steps back. And again, let's keep the left foot on the floor. Find the articulation through the left forefoot, particularly at the toe joints, the big toe ball joint, baby toe ball joint. We want to find that hinge ability in the toe joints. Keep that, and now push into it until you feel the muscles of your left leg firm. They will tone, and you'll feel the muscle like compacting around the whole circumference of your leg towards the center of the bones of the leg. When you've got that feeling, that quality, reach from your pelvis and lift your left leg up. And you have to keep that firmness of muscle to bone. That's the action that you've got to keep once you discover it. Reach your right arm forward and breathe. The movement now is from the left scapula, right? So left elbow is going to stay steady, while the left scapula broadens to and from the midline. And the movement, what it'll be is that your torso will lower towards the earth and your torso will lift away from the earth. All from you gliding a scapula to and from the midline. One more time, this is big work. Right hand down, it's making me sweat. Left leg down, both knees down. Shift back to Balasana, child's pose. Make it an active child's pose by pressing through your finger pads and lifting your forearms and your armpits up. So your arms are not resting on the ground. Your arms are lifted, which keeps a lift through the torso. On your next breath, go ahead and rest your arms down, even rest your forearm down, and feel the difference between an active shape and a more passive shape, and what feels different in the shoulder girdle. Here in this more passive shape, with your forearm and your forehead resting on the ground, notice how much the scapula are broadening. And there's no real strength here. And this is all good, it's fine, great stuff. Keep the broadness, press down with your finger pads and lift your forearms up and your forehead up. And feel that when you come back up, you also have the broadness, but you also have this quality of strength through the shoulder girdle with the broadness. So arms are up, head is up, armpits lifting, still in child's pose, just noticing the broadness of the scapula, yet also the muscular integration. Plant your hands, tuck your toes, push with your feet, push with your hands as you tip your pelvis up and back into downward facing dog. So there's another movement of the scapula, which is called elevation and depression. And we can play with it here in dog, but let's walk forward first to discover it in standing, which is usually a little bit easier. Bring your hands to your pelvis, in breath and come up. Release your arms down by your side. All right, raise your arms up to the sky. And without bending your elbows, bring your hands closer towards the earth. And this is scapula depression. So elevation would be from the scapula, take your arms up higher to the sky. And see if you can feel your scapula. I'm going to drop my arms. You keep going. See if you can feel your scapula sliding up and down your back, right? So that's depression when it comes down, elevation when it goes up. Couple more times. Scapula gliding up and down, up towards your head, down towards your pelvis. Good. Release your arms. Take a wide stance. Turn your right foot slightly in. Turn your left foot all the way open. Reach your arms up to the sky. Scapula elevation to reach them way up there. Let them elevate. Keep them elevated. Bring them out to a T. Draw the scapula towards one another and release your front hip to come into your knee bend. Left arm to left quad, top arm to the sky. To take your arm forward in the direction that your face is looking, broaden your scapula away from your spine. So reach from the back of your heart to your fingertips. And then keep that reach as you extend your arm over your head. Push with both feet. Inhale and come up. Exhale and release your arms. Turn your left foot in. Turn your right foot all the way open. Reach your arms up to the sky to make the reach bigger, 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 bigger. Scapula elevation. See your scapula sliding up the back of you. Release your front hip, come into your knee bend. Take your arms out to a T. Now scapula draw towards the spine. So they're actually going to pull in. Even though the arms are reaching out, draw your scapula, both the left and the right, towards your spine. On an exhale, right arm to quad, top arm to sky. Use scapula elevation on the left arm. And now keep the space. You're going to broaden the scapula away from the spine to reach your arm forward in the direction of your eyes. Swing your arm over your head. Play with elevation again in the scapula here. That's what gives you the extra reach. Push with both feet, in breath and come up. Exhale and release your arms. Turn your feet parallel. Heel toe them together. Raise your arms up. Scapula elevation, belly and ribs move back, tail down, scapula depression. 2 more times. Elevation, depression. Once more, reach up from the scapula. Exhale, let the arms kind of sink into the sockets from an action of your shoulder blades moving towards your pelvis. Release your arms down. Walk to the top of your mat. Reach up to the sky. Exhale, have a seat chair pose. Fold forward, Uttanasana, and step back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees. Spread your toes. Tip your sitting bones up to the sky. Keep your knees bent as you claw with your hands and make a firmer commitment with each finger pad. Keeping your arms lengthened, depress your scapula. Bring your scapula towards your pelvis. Still committing to hands and feet, elevate your scapula. So now your scapula is going to glide towards your head. 2 more times. Scapula glide towards your pelvis. Scapula glide towards your head. And I'm going to admit to you guys, 20 years ago or more now, I'm getting older and older, it's surprising. So we'll say 20, I'll be kind. I could not move my scapula. I did not move. I weight trained a lot. I lifted very heavy weights, which is a good thing. I lift heavy now too. But keep gliding your scapula 1 more time. And then walk your hands and your feet towards one another. Bring your hands to your pelvis. Move your heart forward and come up. Yeah, I had so much concrete back there that I could not glide my scapula. And I thought it would never change. It took time and practice and patience to get my scapula gliding again on my back. So if you're feeling that way, that maybe one scapula is a little tighter than the other and it's not gliding as well, it doesn't feel like it's moving at all and not tracking well, just be patient with it. It could take a couple of years to work that out. Reach up to the sky, out to a T. Pull both legs towards one another. Draw your scapula towards one another and draw your scapula away from one another. So now we're putting 2 actions together. So you're going to draw your scapula towards your spine, while at the same time, you're trying to broaden your scapula. Keep that. Bring your hand towards the earth for Trikonasana, both legs long. So even here with these arms extended in triangle pose, wherever the left hand is touching is fine. See if you can return to today's teaching, which is the shoulder girdle. Draw the scapula towards your spine. Keep that, but also broaden the scapula away from the spine. Bring your right hand to your pelvis. Bend your front knee. So now you're in a bigger shape of side angle pose. Keep pulling your feet towards one another and extend your heart. You know, the heart can only extend when it feels supported. And how your heart is supported is through the actions of the scapula. Yeah, they're behind the heart, these big, beautiful triangular bones. Top arm up to the sky, reach it over your head, breathe. Keep pushing with your feet from pelvis to foot, push down. Take your bottom arm, reach it out, scapula depression, scapula elevation, scapula depression, scapula elevation. Push with both feet, inhale and come up. Woohoo! Exhale and release your arms, yes. Turn your left foot in, turn your right foot open. So now you know what's coming, right? So when you know what's coming, it's always easier than what's unexpected. Breathe. Reach your arms up to the sky, scapula elevation, arms out to a T. Draw the scapula towards your spine while at the same time broadening them away from the spine. So both actions. Keep the feet pulling in and also reach down from pelvis to feet as you tip into Trikonasana, spine long. Breathe. Here in triangle pose, Trikonasana, same idea. Can you draw both scapula towards the spine? Can you also keep that and also broaden the scapula away? Next breath, take your left hand to your pelvis, release your right hip, come into a knee bend on your right leg, head of the shin bone stacked over either the right ankle. I just came up because I think sometimes the mic gets weird here, guys. Sorry, just going to move it. All right, top arm up to the sky, over your head. Breathe. So you're in a bigger shape of extended side angle. Bottom arm extends to scapula elevation, scapula depression. You've really got to pull your feet towards one another to stay steady here while you work with the scapula. Next breath, push with both feet. In breath and come up. Exhale and release your arms. Heel toe your feet together. So you're heel toeing them towards one another to come in. Walk to the top of your mat. Stand in both feet. In breath, reach up. Elevate your scapula. Exhale, have a seat chair pose. Bring your hands back behind you. Clasp them. Draw your scapula towards one another. Next exhale, hinge forward into a forward fold. Let your arms go towards the sky. So, scapula are drawing towards your spine, and to get your hands off of your pelvis, the scapula have to elevate. Elevate means towards your head. See if that helps you lift your arms over your head or towards your head a little bit more. If you just think about where the movement is actually coming from. The movement is the scapula. Bring your arms back to your pelvis. Release your hand clasp. Bring your hands to your pelvis. In breath and come up. All right, so you need a wall. We're going to play with some rotations of the arm. So come to a wall that's stable. If you're going to use a door, please make sure nobody else is going to come through the door and that the door is locked so that it doesn't open while your hand is on the wall. So your right hand goes to the wall. I'm going to put my back to you. My right hand is on the wall and I'm facing the wall. Right hand is just lining up pretty nicely with the shoulder girdle. Same height, right? So it's at the same height. With your left hand on your pelvis, begin turning your feet away from the wall. Push into the wall with your right hand. Keep your right arm long. Eventually, you'll keep turning your feet. You might turn open. Yeah. Keep your ribs and your head balanced on your pelvis. You'll turn open as much as you feel comfortable. Your shoulder girdle will tell you what to do. Now take your left hand, the free hand, bring it to your right rib cage and hold it. You're going to hold your right rib cage just underneath your chest tissue. Soften your knees a little bit, but keep your legs firm by pushing with your feet so that you feel the tone and the firmness of your legs, the muscles hugging the bone in your legs. Keeping your belly and ribs back with your pelvis, turn your right ribs to the left. That little bit of extra should increase the stretch sensation through the right shoulder girdle, the right arm, the right forearm, the right palm of your hand, right? Sensation all through there of stretch is what this is about. You're opening up the right arm line. Breathe, and on an exhale, turn all the way back to your wall. Keep your right hand on the wall pushing. Turn from your feet to go back to the wall to come out of the shape. Release your right arm down. I'm just turning around to face you. And my right arm is longer than my left right now. This is my right arm, and I don't know if you can see how much longer it is. And it's probably the same for you. So just notice that. You really opened that arm. So let's try the other side. Turn completely to your wall. My back will be facing you. Left hand to the wall. Place your left hand. It's at about the height of your shoulder, right? So it's not higher or lower than your shoulder. And it's about the width of your shoulder. Pointer, finger, and thumb, the outer width of your shoulder. All right, now push the wall. Claw with your finger pads. Push the wall. And so that would mean the scapula. If you were pushing the wall, what would the scapula do? Would the scapula move towards the spine or away? And I hope you're yelling, away. All right, turn from your feet now. And as your feet turn, you'll feel your scapula come to your spine. So as you start turning away from the wall and even completely away, like your back is going to the wall, you will feel the scapula draw in towards your spine. See if you can sense that. Perfect. Breathe. Now, wherever you are in this rotation is good for you. You just work in the range that's right for you. Feet and knees in the same direction and pelvis. You're not torquing out at the legs to fake yourself out, right? Be really honest through the leg position. So you can adjust your feet. If you feel any sort of like torquing or pulling through the legs, it means you're trying too hard. Bring your right hand to your left rib cage, and you're holding your left ribs just underneath your chest tissue. Breathe. Push the wall again with your left arm. So left arm is staying long. Each finger pad continues to claw the wall. And now turn your right ribs. You don't have to turn them much. You're using your right hand to turn your left ribs, which then turns your right ribs. Can you feel that? So as your left ribs come forward, you're using your right hand to move your left ribs forward. Your right ribs will draw back. And that small movement of the rib cage will open the shoulder girdle, open the arm lines even more. If you feel any numbing, tingling, burning, you're doing too much. You need to come out of this. That's a nerve telling you, stop it, all right? So only work where there's stretch sensation, not nerve reaction. Keep pushing the wall. Release your right hand. Continue to push the wall with your left hand. Turn from your feet and your pelvis back to the wall. Push the wall the whole time you're turning. Push the wall the whole time you turn. And then release your left arm down. Just stand on your mat with both arms dangling. Those are pretty big rotations for the shoulder girdle to go through. And we use them a lot in yoga. So let's play with those now in a weight-bearing practice. Reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, have a seat, chair pose. Fold forward to Uttanasana. Step back to all fours. Keep your left hand on the mat, just forward of your shoulder girdle. So left hand will have to move into position, just forward of the left shoulder girdle. Kickstand your left foot out, bring your right hand to your pelvis. Raise your right leg up, raise your right arm up. So it's a variation of Vashisthasana. And hopefully, if we did a good job of opening the shoulder girdle, this should feel very light and easy and not cumbersome. Now to come out of it, we're going to bring the right knee to the mat. Come up into tall kneeling. Here we go. Fold your right knee, tall kneeling. Reach your arms up. We're going to the second side. Out to a T. Left hand to pelvis. Right hand down to the mat. Left leg extends. Push with your right hand. Raise your left leg up in the air. Flex strongly at the left ankle joint. That will help tone your belly. Ankle flexion helps tone the belly. Extend the left arm up. Breathe. Firm the muscle to the bone in the left leg. And you know how to do that. There's like that imaginary push of the forefoot, even though you're keeping ankle flexion. Left hand to pelvis. Fold your left knee to tall kneeling. Woohoo. Good. One more time each side. Extend your right leg out. Left arm down, right arm up to the sky. Right leg lifts. Lighter fingertips on the left arm. Go to ridge tops on the left hand. Ridge tops, left hand. So you're depending on the hand less, more on the legs. Float up. Leg down. Lateral bend down the right leg. Right hand down the right leg. Left arm, left torso, torquing. Yep. Yep. Over to the right. So a lateral bend to the right. Breathe. This is Parigasana, gate pose. In breath and come up. Right knee under the pelvis. Left leg out into the side plane. Reach your arms up to the sky. Out to a T. Right hand down. Breathe. Lighter right hand, go to ridge top. So now you're depending more on your oblique system and your legs to hold you up, less on your right hand. If you can completely get the right hand off the ground and float, awesome. Come all the way up to tall kneeling, yep. And then slide your left hand down your left leg, right arm up to the sky, a variation of gate pose. Next breath, tall torso, left leg folds underneath you. Bring your hands down to the mat, swing your legs forward. All right, you're gonna need the length and the width of your mat. We've been finding for these online classes that it helps to use 2 yoga mats if you happen to have them that lay like an X or a crisscross. This big round mat that I'm using is similar to that. So you could see like I would have a mat going this way and a mat running horizontal. So a vertical mat and a horizontal mat. That's what the round mat does without having to use 2 of them. All right, so you may need to reorient on your mat for this one. Bend your left knee. Yep, so hug your left knee into your chest. Nice hip opener. So right leg extending, right heel pushing down, toes spreading. Left knee hugging into chest, left arm, you're using your left arm to hug it in. Now reach your right arm up, scapula elevation. Make a backstroke with your right arm. So backstrokes till your right hand lands on the ground. Point your fingers on your right hand away from you. So fingers of the right hand point to the wall behind you, the space behind you. Fingers point away. Bend your right elbow just a little bit. When you bend your right elbow, can you feel the right scapula draw towards the spine? After all this shoulder warm up, I'm hoping you're yelling, yes, I felt my scapula glide. So lengthen your right arm, bend your right elbow, let your right scapula come towards your spine. Push down with your left foot, push with your right hand, lift your pelvis up. Push with your right hand, push with your left foot, lift your pelvis up and extend your left arm over your head. What does it mean to extend your left arm over your head? What does the left scapula have to do? To push more with your right hand, what would the right scapula be doing? I hope you're going to say right scapula coming towards my spine, left scapula elevating. Next breath, pelvis down. Hug your left knee in again. Use both hands this time and hug. Strong right leg. Pressing down, heart lifting up. Okay, now you know what's coming, so switch sides. It'll be easier on the second side because you know what's going to happen. So with your right knee bent, and you're hugging it in with your right arm, press down with your left heel as you reach out from your pelvis through your left heel. Raise your left arm up. We know to get the arm really reaching up, the scapula is going to elevate. Make a backstroke with your left arm and land it on the mat behind you. As your hand makes that backstroke, can you feel what the scapula did? Did it move towards your spine? Yeah, it did. Bend your left elbow a little bit more and move the scapula towards the spine. Right, so now your hand, your left hand, your fingers point in the direction facing towards the space behind you. So fingers are pointing away from your body and towards the space behind you. Breathe. Push down strongly with your right foot. Release the grip of your right hand. As you push with your right foot, push with your left hand, lift your pelvis up. Breathe. To extend your right arm more, it's scapula elevation. To lift your pelvis more, push more with your right foot. And to lift your heart more, it's left scapula onto the back more, towards the midline more. That's what will extend your heart. Next breath, exhale, pelvis down. Use both arms now and hug your knee into your chest. Take both arms and hug. That'll help broaden the left scapula that was doing such a strong job of hugging to the midline and the back body to hold you up. All right, stretch your right leg back out. So you're in staff pose, seated staff pose, Dandasana. Take your left leg and let's cross it over into figure 4. Left leg crossing over into figure 4. Reach both arms up. How did they get there? What was the driver of the action? Exhale, forward fold. As you come into your forward fold, bend your elbows and put your hands on the ground. Keep your elbows lifting up to the sky. Allow your scapula to depress just a little bit so the tops of the shoulders relax. So it's not like you're shoving your shoulders down. You're just saying, well, you can depress a little bit, so I stop hunching my shoulders towards my ears. Keep moving your heart forward. To move your heart forward, you know there's like this action of the scapula drawing towards the spine a little bit, just the sweetest amount is what allows your heart to peek out and move forward. Push with your hands, inhale and come up. Stretch your left leg out. Cross your right leg over into figure 4. Breathe. Left leg, long leg, press down through the heel. Spread your toes on both feet as you inhale and reach up. You know what took the arms up into that in-breath, the reach up. You know the movement that happened back behind you. Exhale, forward fold, and as you come forward, place your hands on the ground and go into ridge tops, just finger pads touching down, elbows up to the sky. If you're not feeling a little bit of scapula drawing towards the midline, draw them in so that you can pull your heart forward. Right? And it's sweet, it's subtle, it's not aggressive. And each breath gives you an opportunity to refine it. So you don't have to get there in the first cue, right? It's after several breath cycles, you're like, oh, there it is. There's that sweet spot of my scapula lovingly drawing towards one another in a hug towards the midline so that my heart can move forward. Push with your hands and inhale and come up. Open your legs out wide. So Upavishta Konasana. So wide is relative, like what's right wide to you. You've been a dancer for 30 years, you know, whoo, way out there. If you're mother of 2, woman in her mid-50s like me, there's this, right? So you get to pick, what is it? All right, bend your elbows. So it's all good. The shape is good for wherever we're at. It's perfect. With your hands back behind you and your elbows bent using your ridge tops, it's bringing your scapula what? Towards one another or away? What do you feel? And I know you're going to yell, I feel that they are drawing together, and that allows your heart to be supported from the back. Move your right hand out into the side plane. Bring your left hand to your left pelvis. Your right hand's reaching down the outside edge of your right leg. It'll reach as far as it's willing. So it might be here, it's fine. Wherever it's reaching is good. If you can get the foot, go for the foot. To get the foot, what do you think the scapula has to do? To extend the arm more, what would the scapula have to do? Move away from the midline, yeah. Take your top arm up to the sky. Bend your right elbow. So when you bend your right elbow, the bottom elbow, it's the scapula quiz. You bend your right elbow, what's your right scapula gonna do? Did you feel it move towards your spine? Creating more structural strength? I hope you yelled yes. Bring your left hand back to your pelvis. Bring your right hand back to ridge tops. In breath and come up. Second side. Press down through your feet, spread your toes, and pull from your heels towards your pelvis. So you're drawing your legs into your body, keeping them secure while we play with the shoulder girdle. Reach your arms up to the sky. That's an elevation, out to a T. Left hand down, right hand up. Yep. And you can start reaching towards your left foot. You know that it's coming out of the side waist. And for today, we're also saying, hey, what gets an arm to reach further, right? What gets an arm reach longer is something that comes from the back of your heart, broadening away from the spine. And that's what gives you that extra reach sometimes that we're looking for. Right hand to pelvis. Bring your left elbow down towards the earth. And you can use ridge tops here if that helps. Right? So we've bent the left elbow, and hopefully you're feeling that you can draw, from bending the left elbow, you can draw your left scapula towards your spine. Option is the right arm over the head. It's an elevation of the right scapula to reach. Keep pushing down through your right outside of your pelvis, the right outer hip. Push down as you try to extend through the right side waist with a couple more breath cycles. Right hand back to pelvis, left hand to the mat. Push with your left hand, push down with your legs. Inhale and rise. Bring your legs back together. Turn sideways on your mat if you need to, so that you can get to the middle of your mat to lay down, whatever direction you need to go to get down to your mat. So in the middle of your mat, hold on to your hamstrings and lay down. Once you're in supine on your mat, bend both knees and let's step feet out wider than pelvis. So feet wider than pelvis. And with your feet wider than your pelvis, let your knees track with the center of your ankle and your second toe. So knees are opening up just as wide as your feet have opened. Take your arms out to a T and turn your palms to the sky. Roll to the inner edge of your right foot to drop your right knee to the midline. So you've rolled to the big toe, inner heel edge of your right foot so that your right knee drops down to the midline of you. Left leg is staying right where it is. It's not going left or right or wobbling. It hasn't shifted at all. Roll to the bottom of your right foot to pick your right knee back up. And now roll to the inner edge of your left foot. So you're rolling onto the big toe, inner heel edge of your left foot. And the resulting movement will be that your left knee will come down to the ground towards the midline of you. Meanwhile, your right leg is not shifted. It's not shifted right. It's not shifted left. It's just held its spot. Which can be hard because, man, the right leg, you know, the leg that's the supporting leg, it always wants to do something. It's like, really, you just want me to hold and be here? And you're like, yeah, just stay there and be steady. Push with your right foot, raise your left knee up. One more time each side. Make sure you open your left knee back out as wide as the frontal hip bone and the second to fourth toe, right? So the knee is open. Keeping the left foot steady, the left leg steady, drop your right leg to the midline, roll to the big toe edge. In breath, raise your right leg back up by rolling to the bottom of the right foot. Now make sure your right leg returns to alignment with the center of the right ankle. Right leg holds its position as you roll to the inner edge of your left foot so your left knee drops to the midline. Push with your right foot, roll to the bottom of your left foot. Take both knees now, drop them to the left, both knees. So these are windshield wipers. We were doing single windshield wipers at first, now it's a double. So both knees dropping left. You're on the pinky toe edge of your left foot. You're on the big toe edge of your right foot. Next breath, both knees to the sky. That means roll to the bottoms of both feet. Take both knees over to the right. You're rolling onto the pinky toe edge of your right foot, the big toe edge of your left foot. Breathe. Roll to the bottoms of both feet. Work your feet back into the midline. Hug your knees into your chest. So we just have one more shoulder movement for today's practice, and it's called shoulder clock. Keep your knees up towards your chest and roll into side lying on your right side. So knees stay towards chest. Roll into side lying on your right side. You may need a pillow underneath your head if having your head down feels awkward. So your head could be resting on something. Bottom arm, the right arm, is coming straight out from your right shoulder girdle. Left arm stacks on top. So there's a reach. In order to get the left hand on top of the right hand, you've got to broaden through the left scapula, right? So without tipping your torso forward, try to broaden. Take your left arm, reach it up over your head. This is elevation. Now let your ribs turn. So your right ribs are going to turn left as your left arm circles behind you, towards the wall behind you. Left arm comes down to your pelvis. Your torso turns back towards the direction that your right hand is located, and keep it going. So the arm goes over your head to the wall behind you. Arm to the pelvis, and eventually back to stacking with the bottom arm. Keep it going. Allow your ribs to turn. Breath flowing. On the next couple, see if your eyes can track your hand. So the whole time you're moving, your eyes track your left hand through space. That'll change the range of motion in a good way. It might limit the range of motion of the arm and the shoulder, but it might increase the range of motion of the ribs and eventually the neck and the head. One more time, eyes track the hand through the whole circle. What does your ribs and your head and your neck have to do to make that happen? Bend both elbows. Bring hands towards heart. Keep the knees tucked in close, and we'll roll over to the other side. I'm just going to switch so I can still face you, but you get on your left side, knees tucked up to your chest. Again, you could have a pillow or something beneath your head to support your head if it feels awkward. Hands coming straight out from the shoulder girdle. Left hand, back of the hand on the mat and reaching. Now, reach your right arm over top of your left so that your palms meet. And to get that without tipping from the ribs or the pelvis, the reach is going to come from the broadening of the scapula. On your next in-breath, right arm over your head. Just make the movement sweet and lovely as you begin making your shoulder clock. Over the head, back behind you, reaching towards your pelvis, and then arms stack again. As you continue with your shoulder clock, your rhythm, with your breath, allow your ribs to move more, to bring you into the back plane. So the ribs will rotate. Your head will start moving just a little bit more too, right? You'll be turning from the ribs, and then if the ribs are turning, the head will say, well, I'll move too. If the ribs are going, I'll follow what the ribs are doing. And now let your eyes follow your right hand. And that's going to change a lot what the head, the neck, and the ribs are going to do. So we've just changed the objective, which is now eyes track the hand throughout the whole range. And it's going to change the movement, so let the movement change. How does it need to change? How about one more time? Breathe. All right. The next time your hands land on top of one another, bend your elbows, roll onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest. Slide your hands up to your feet, happy baby. Use your hands to push down on your feet and your feet push back up. Draw your knees back into the midline one more time for a hug in. And now stretch your legs out. Stretch your arms out down beside you. So arms and legs extending. Palms open to the sky. As you settle into rest, see if you can sense your scapula on your back. Can you feel the point of contact with your shoulder blades, those triangular bones touching the earth? Can you feel the structure of them and how they are literally supporting your heart and lifting it from the back body, from behind you? Take a big old exhale and let your weight settle into the support of these bones. So you're not trying to falsely lift your chest up away from the support of the scapula. Allow yourself here to rest in their support. Let yourself rest back and your heart feel supported by the amazing bony structure of you.